Welcome back to another episode of Closet Success, where we hear from small town people about their big time success stories. Today we are excited to be at the Castle Ridge location in Centralia, Illinois. This is an amazing place. We have Greg Sutton with us today. So we just can't be more excited to learn from Greg about not only this tremendous event space, but also just his background and how he became successful. So Greg, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the beautiful view.
Oh,
Absolutely.
just for you.
Just for me? Thank you.
So Greg, tell us a little bit about, let's just start off talking about your background. Tell us where you grew up, how you grew up, and kind of fast forward to today with us a little bit.
Sure. I'm a small town prodigy. Grew up in a town of about 1,500 folks, just east of here in White County, a little town called North City, and lived on the farm out there. So a lot of early mornings before went to school, and a lot of late nights after school. But the small town living, I think, helped to shape a lot of my values and a lot of the objectives that I've set for myself in my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is one of your earliest memories as far as a lesson that you learned that maybe you still use today? Can you think of one?
Sure. One of the earliest things that I learned is that if you put something off till tomorrow, life continues to happen, and you may never get to actually completing that objective. So if it needs to be done, you need to do it. And sometimes that means longer days. Sometimes that means a little extra effort. But just don't put it off, because whether it's in your personal life or it's in your professional life, things need to be done. Get them done.
You left the small town. What did you do when you left?
Well, I went to a little bigger town called Carbondale once I graduated from high school and went to undergrad in Carbondale there in business. And when I graduated from there, I went to get my master's degree in business at the University of Chicago and moved to the Chicago area up in Hyde Park, there where University of Chicago is. So that was a small town kid getting a view of what the big city was all about, and ended up staying up there to start my own business up there in technology.
Okay.
Wow.
And tell us about that. What was your first business that you started, and how did that sort of come about? How did that come to fruition?
Sure. I was working for a consulting company while I was in graduate school there in Chicago, and saw how businesses in general needed a lot of help. And back in the mid 80s, technology was really just starting to integrate into everything in business. And so I kind of changed a little bit of my pathway in graduate school and took on some technology courses as well. And as part of that consulting team or company there, started a team that worked in technology and started to implement technology in businesses, in healthcare, in financial services, and seeing that take off, was able to actually spin that team off into my own business with my wife, who went to SIU as well. She's from Du Quoin, and her undergrad was in computer sciences. So we started the business together at that point.
So, going through all of that, having that experience, what did you learn that you can apply to the projects that you do today? Is there anything that you'd say is a sort of a common denominator of success?
Great customer service, and you probably hear that in most businesses, that customer service is very important, and making sure then that all of our staff at all levels of the organization understand to provide great customer service, even in difficult situations, whether it's a customer that you should fire or it's where we may have not performed up to expectations, and how do you adjust that, and where the customer is completely satisfied and wants to buy more. It's hard to tell a customer that you're not performing at your best, but here's the plan to fix it.
So what is your tie to Centralia, what is the reason you thought, hey, what was the vision you saw with Centralia?
Sure. The mayor at the time, Tom Ashby, was sitting on a state board that I also sat on, and he had invited me to Centralia a couple times previously, and we had taken a look at the community, did some market research, felt that Centralia was positioned within the Southern Illinois region to potentially be a hub of economic development. And then about 4 years ago, he invited me down again and drove me out to this exact spot we're sitting on right now. Drove his truck right up to here and said, look, and as you can see here, it's a beautiful view here on this point looking out on the lake. And he said, what do you think you could do with this? And at the time it was a non-operating golf course. And so we did some additional market research and developed some plans, purchased the property, and we're in the process of finishing up phase 2 of a multi-phase project here.
That's
I love
terrific.
it. And I love that you had the vision with Centralia.
How many of these castle projects have you done? Is this the first one?
This is actually the first project where we're looking at, again, that 10 plus years of development here. Most of the other projects that we've done have been shorter term, a couple year types of projects.
If you could go back, knowing everything that you know today, if you could go back and tell your 23-year-old self anything, what would it be?
Well, it was just a couple years ago, you know.
I'm sorry. But, I'm jumping the gun here.
If I could, I would tell my 23-year-old self not to just rely on myself and the time energy I can put in, but to be a better mentor for those that were around me, to help them better grasp the vision and buy in to the to the opportunity, because as we discussed before, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you're only one person, and more folks around you thinking through opportunities or addressing problems and issues help move things a lot better and a lot faster.
Why do you get up every day and do things like this? What drives you to do this?
Sure. Well, the good Lord has blessed me and my wife and family in that we don't have to do anything anymore. So we are able to choose what it is that we do. And right now we're choosing to make an impact in other lives besides just our own. So our investments of our time, our energy, our financial resources are really driven by what impact can we make in the communities and those people that live in the communities here. So whether it's providing job opportunities for folks, good paying job opportunities for folks, or creating living conditions in the community that enhance the lifestyles of those in the community here, or draw more business in that employ more people. That's what drives us right now in the investment choices that we make.
So as you think about the term success, because obviously that's what this channel is all about, what would you say you use to measure success? How do you know if you're successful?
That's it's always a moving target for us, because we kind of operate in what's called the design build concept, in that you have the vision in mind, and you start biting off chunks of that vision, and sometimes it may change. This castle that we have built here started as a rehabilitation of the old clubhouse that sat here, and then as we looked at what would be invested to rehabilitate that, if we just go a little bit more, and then more market research came in to show that having a conference center as well as the banquet facilities would drive even more business opportunity in the community. So we added that on as well. So success for us continues to morph, and it's really about, have we made an impact? Have lives changed? Are the folks that are working here buying their own homes now, or are the people in the community able to access better services in the community because of what's going on? So for us, that's how we're really looking at success, is what's going on in the community around us, and is it improving?
Yeah, and that takes time, right? It takes some time to kind of maybe move that needle a little bit. But I'm assuming, and maybe you would agree with this, that once that needle starts to move, I mean, it's really hard to stop at some point.
It is hard to stop, and it creates some momentum. We get a lot of visibility, and so folks are looking at what's going on here, and we've already had requests from other communities on, hey, would you come and do this here? And so looking at those opportunities as well, while this is still being developed, is a balancing act.
Yeah, that's great.
Because you can't be everywhere at once, and you only got 24 hours in the day.
That's right. That's right.
So Greg, I'm sure you've ran across a few naysayers from time to time on these projects that you're involved in. But what do you say to them when they tell you something, your vision's not going to work, this project's not going to work? What do you tell them?
Sure, and a lot of the folks that may have a negative view, it's typically because they have a narrow scope of what it is they see. They aren't aware of all of the market research that we may have done. They aren't aware of all the other support that we may already have in place. And so helping them to see the bigger vision and the broader scope of what's going on here helps with that. But there still are some that are, why this location? How is this location? On this project in particular, some folks see only Centralia, and they say, why Centralia? They don't see this beautiful lake.
Right, that more than people in Centralia want to, there are people around here that want to come and enjoy this.
Exactly.
We really appreciate your time today. It's really been an enjoyable experience for me to hear your story, and Kelsey, of course. And so thanks for sharing part of your day with us. We really appreciate it.
Well, Jeff and Kelsey, I appreciate it as well. I'm always willing to share what little bit of experience that we have, and looking forward to hearing more of the success stories as you promote them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You bet.
Well, that's it for this episode of Closet Success. We were with Greg Sutton today at the Castle Ridge location in Centralia, Illinois, listening to his big-time success story, even though he's a small-town kid. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.